Hi.
Right. So thank you to our Real Talk series, getting your student involved in campus life. We are super excited that all of you are here this evening. We're gonna have a mix of different class years. So we have first year families, second year families, 4-year families, and third year families. So that we know who you are, please let us know where you're from in the chat. And with that said, we're gonna start. Next slide, please. So my name is Eva Reyes, and I am the Director of Parent and Family Relations. I just have a few ground rules to go over with you this evening before we get into our presentation. Everyone is on mute as you're entering the room, and as everyone introduces themselves, our panelists, and present. The recording is in progress. So this is in order to ensure that you guys get the recording after we're done in case you want to revisit anything. Closed caption is available. All you need to do is just hit the button on the bottom of your screen, or any questions that you may have, please put them in the Q&A box. We're going to try to get through as many questions as possible. We're going to leave some towards the end. That way we could have like a rich discussion on how you could best support your student. And at the end, there's going to be a QR code where you're able to provide us your feedback. And I greatly appreciate that so that I know how I can best support you and provide you with programs so that in turn you're able to best support your student. So we're going to go over, next slide, please, what we're going to go over this evening. So our panelists are going to introduce themselves, are going to go over their areas and what they do. We're going to touch a little bit upon Greek life, how your students could get involved with civic engagement, how they could earn badges and certificates as they're doing all the different civic engagements or leadership opportunities on campus. Then we're going to have a little discussion session and we're going to provide you some tips and takeaways so that you are best able to use them with your family. So without further ado, let's go to introductions.
So, hello, everyone. My name is Donna Minix-Bueller, and I am the Director of Campus Activities, Service and Leadership. If you have attended orientation, I'm that Donna. We probably may have met already. I've been at William Patterson now for 10 years. I have been working in higher education and student activities and other areas for over 30 years. And my passion is working with students and getting them involved in campus life and activities. So many of them come back as alumni, and it's just so rewarding to see how their engagement here at William Patterson actually helped them in their careers and what they're doing now. So it's really an incredible honor for me to be able to work with your students.
Hi everyone, my name is Sahaj Gaurasan and I'm the president for Student Government Association. And if you were at orientation, you also might have heard me speak because I'm also an orientation leader, and I can't wait to help you guys out, to get the students involved, and yeah.
So we'll go to the next slide.
Okay.
So I'll tell you a little bit about campus activities, service, and leadership. So we are pretty much the department on campus that does almost all the extracurricular activities on campus. Or if it's not us, we're involved with it in some format. We empower students through experiences by providing leadership opportunities, whether they're in student organizations or in committees, etc. We provide opportunities to do service on and off campus, and provide a lot of different activities, either through our office or working with our student organizations to providing engaging activities on campus so that students can connect. We have about over 60 student organization clubs on campus, always growing, always changing. We have about 20 Greek organizations. We provide civic engagement activities, large and small, on and off campus. We also oversee our WP Leads badges, which we'll tell you more about, and our Pioneer Pantry. We host a lot of activities. Hopefully your students had the opportunity to partake in some of our Welcome Week activities, which we just came up with we finished those last week. We're heading now into our Pioneer Pride activities, the week of Homecoming and Family Day. We do all kinds of activities throughout the year, and then we finish them up this semester with De-Stress Fest activities to help students when they're going through exams. We advise all of these student organizations. So, between, 80 plus student organizations meet with us in their activities and events and their leadership. We coordinate trainings for all of them so that they can better function in their areas. And including Leadership Academy and conferences for our Greek students. Right now, I'm working with Student Government Association for their leadership retreat, which is on Friday. And then, like I said before, we offer a lot of civic engagement activities off campus and on campus. Some of you may have a student that participated in our Pioneer Service Ventures, which took place on September 6th. So we do a lot to keep them engaged, but it's really important. We'll talk more about why it's important. And Sahaj, you're up.
I think I'm up. Student Government Association is part of the trifecta, the big three, as we like to call it. So it's student government, it's all the Greek organizations, and it's SAPB. SAPB is the Student Activities and Programming Board. So most events on campus, like Donna said, is either hosted by campus activities or one of these three organizations. A little fun fact about us is that this year we'll be completing our 100 years. So SGA was established 100 years ago. And just to give you a point of reference, oh, did something?
You're fine.
Okay. It just, my screen changed. Just to give you guys a point of reference, the student building is only 50 years old. So we're all older than the student, like the main student center building. And so you might be wondering, who are the members of the Student Government Association? Essentially, every student who pays the student activities fee, which is all of your kids, is a part of Student Government Association. And we advocate for students' needs, concerns, and every club on campus is chartered by us, and we fund them. So we're one way or another, we're involved with every club, and we help oversee them during club council, which is every other Monday. And we also host weekly Senate meetings, which is a meeting comprising of all the 5 SGA standing committees. You must be wondering, what are the 5 standing committees? We have student life, which is basically everything outside of the classroom. We have academic affairs, which is everything inside of the classroom. The senators from academic affairs meet with the deans, get involved in uh, talking to the provost and are involved with academic clubs. Then we have allocations committees. Like I said, all the clubs, we oversee all club funding. We have the JRB, which help charter all these clubs, and they talk about everything that has to do with the Constitution. I'm missing PR. PR are the people who design stickers, are involved in promotions, they do tablings. You might have seen us during orientation. So these were the 5 standing committees of SGA. And we host weekly Senate meetings, which is open to all students. Essentially, if your student wants to get involved, has a concern that they want to bring up to us, they can attend these meetings. And SGA is like the gateway to get involved on campus. You guys, we provide leadership opportunities, training. We, like Donna said, we have a retreat coming up on Friday. Yeah, that was a little summary about SGA. And you might want to talk to your kids about the upcoming forum that SGA is hosting, which is tomorrow actually during the common hour. It's called Tote Talks, and it is especially very important, I would say, and very recommended for freshman year students, because it is essentially, we're going to be doing a speed dating but with all the resources on campus. So every resource on campus, whether it's a recreation center, whether it's library services, whether it's counseling, health and wellness, they're all going to be there. And if your student wants to get involved, they have any questions, this is a great place to go. I will send the flyer in the chat if you guys want to share it with everyone else. Yeah.
I was going to ask you to do that, Sahaj. Wonderful. So I put that information in the chat for everybody.
Yes.
Terrific. All right, we'll go on to the next slide. So we're going to talk a little bit about clubs and organizations. Like we said, there's over 60 of them, and it's ever growing. So as a matter of fact, since the middle of August, I've already had 12 students or 12 organizations reach out to me to either be reactivated because they had, gone defunct a couple years ago when people graduated, or brand new organizations. And we're only on September 22nd, so that's a lot of new organizations coming in. So we could be easily over 80 by we get to the end of the end of the year. The clubs range anywhere from academic clubs. Most all of the colleges have clubs associated with them, and many of them are associated with majors or groups of similar majors. So, for example, if you're in business, there's an accounting society. If you are in science, there's a biology club, and a chemistry club, and there's a math club, and there's a lot of them. If you're a College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, there's a political science club. There might also be some other clubs. There's a psychology club. There's music clubs. There's a lot of areas. There's an art club. So there's something pretty much everywhere for everyone in all of them. And in addition, we also have a lot of organizations that are cultural based. And so we have our Black Student Union, we have our Organization of Latin American Students, we have a Korea Club, Go Japan, pretty much anything that you could think of. There's a Chinese club, I think, forming soon. So anything that students are interested in, and they have some desire to do a little work to make it happen, we can help them form those clubs. Um, Students, when they want to form a club, it's pretty easy. First thing we ask them to do is to look to make sure that there isn't a club like it. So we want them to explore in Pioneer Life, and we'll talk about that later, how they find the different clubs. And then if there isn't a club that fits their need, then they meet with me. Pretty easy. We help them, they just find 15 other students who want to do the same type of activity. We have helped them write a constitution for their club through the SGA, and they get a faculty staff advisor. And then working through the SGA process, we can get that club recognized. And so we often get a lot of first year students, especially who want to see some new clubs. So I get the joy of working with them, often to create these experiences. Clubs are important because they provide leadership opportunities, and opportunities for students to engage in their interests. They build community, they make connections not only with each other, but with also faculty and staff advisors. They have fun, they work in teams. And so it's really an important experience that all of these things are what careers are based on. People who are going to be hiring your students at some point are going to be looking for these types of skills, which they get to learn and try out in a safe environment through working with their student organizations. Every semester we hold a club fair. We had one during the first full week of school. And, we had about, I would say, 800 plus people outside on Zanfino Plaza, where all the clubs were set up with their tables, where they all talk to people. Students could go around and meet them, get on their rosters, find out when they meet, when their next events are happening. And we're seeing a lot of students now joining those student organizations and finding them and being part of those meetings, et cetera. And like I said before, Pioneer Life is our portal where we try to show all the students. We also show them, they get that information in their Willpower 101 classes too. They'll be shown where Pioneer Life is. We also have a Cork app, CORQ, which is the app for Pioneer Life. And through that, they can explore the many options of student organizations as well. Would you like to say anything else, Sahej, about student organizations? Because you've been part of quite a few. You're on mute.
Yes, I have. It's a very great way for students to get involved, especially students who are more introverted and going to big events and big parties might not be what they want to do. So these clubs are kind of like small social get-togethers and gatherings. Not to say that they don't have big events, but it's the perfect gateway for someone who's more on the introverted side to get involved. And it's for people who have very specific interests. So we have the chemistry club, we have let's say the biotechnology club. So it's very focused on your niche interests. So it's something that your students might want to give a try to give it a whirl. And that's how I first got involved. I joined the international students club because I'm an international student, and that's how I kind of got to know everybody, and now I'm here.
And now she's president of the Student Government Association.
Oh,
Sahej also joined SGA in her freshman year,
yep,
and worked her way up as a senator, and then she became a vice president, and now here she is as president of the
yep.
organization. And
And
full disclosure, my son is a junior here. You probably, if you were at orientation, you heard me say that. And he is the vice president of academic affairs on SGA. So,
he was part of my committee before.
right, he's part of, yeah,
So this is how you get exposed and get involved on campus.
yeah. Want to move to the next slide? So Greek life. Now, Greeks, fraternities and sororities are a little different than student organizations under the SGA. Now, they're all recognized under the Student Government Association, but the fraternities and sororities are actually recognized under what we call Greek Senate. So SGA, Student Government Association, is everybody, and then under them falls everybody else. So Greek Senate is part underneath the Student Government Association, just like the Student Activities Programming Board that Sahej mentioned earlier, the big three. And then under the Greek Senate are all the fraternities and sororities, just like the clubs are all under the Student Government Association. So we have about 20 Greek organizations on campus, fraternities and sororities, and we have 5 councils that they're in. That means they're grouped in councils according to national standards. So we have the Interfraternity Council, which is usually the traditional fraternities, the National Panhellenic Council, which is the traditional sororities you may see. Our United Cultural Greek Council typically is our multicultural and Latino organizations. Then we also have our National Panhellenic Council, also as what also you may have heard it called the Divine Nine, and those are traditionally our Black organizations. And then we also have organizations that are special interest under our Special Interest Greek Council. That's the law fraternity. We have a music sorority and a music fraternity. We're trying to get our business fraternity back up and running. So these are organizations that are affiliated with a special interest and also affiliated with like a specific type of major or career path or something. And so they're one of our councils too. So all of our Greek organizations, they tend to be in smaller in numbers than our student orgs, whereas our student organizations must have at least 15 members. These sometimes may only have a handful of members because they are selective organizations. So a student organization, anybody can join at any time, anytime. But Greek organizations, you need to be invited to join. And so those members would, if the students are interested in Greek life, they would meet the members of those organizations, go to their events and activities, learn about them, learn what they're about, their pillars, their philanthropies, what their values are, etc. And then express that interest to those organizations. And if the organization feels like it's a good fit, then they may be invited to go through a process to join those organizations. So because these organizations are smaller, they tend to have members tend to have a lot more responsibilities as far as leadership. And so, one person could be assuming like, a vice president could also be the PR chair, or the secretary could also be the treasurer. So sometimes they double dip on some of those leadership roles. The thing about Greek organizations too is that once you join one, you are a member for life. So you will be, because these are national organizations, and Eva can even talk about that because she's a member of a sorority, that you are part of those organizations for life. You will be meeting members from different schools who graduated, but they're still your brothers and sisters from a different chapter. And we find that the bonds are very strong, not only for socially, but also networking for jobs, etc. And so there's lifelong friendships are amazing. They have pillars as part of what they are. They all have leadership as part of who they are. They all are required to do civic engagement, community service for their philanthropy. Most have a local philanthropy as well as a national philanthropy. And scholarship is a big part of what they do too, because they have to maintain certain standards for their grade point averages to be active members. We offer specific leadership responsibilities for our opportunities for our Greeks. We have what we call a Greek Stars leadership program. When we talk more about our badges later, we'll explain a little more about what that is. We work a lot with them for civic engagement activities as well. To be a member of a Greek organization, a student must have a GPA, which means they cannot be a first semester student unless they're a transfer student who comes in with 12 credits, on-campus credits. That doesn't count high school credits. They have to have actually been at a university and received on-site 12 credits, with at least a 2.5 GPA, can join an organization. As part of that process, they would go through our anti-hazing workshops. As a matter of fact, this is National Hazing Awareness Prevention Week, and we are programming with all the Greek organizations this week for all of that. They would attend other workshops to talk about their new membership and responsibilities. And it's also, once they go through these, they would go through a new member process where they're learning about the organization, they're meeting members from other chapters, et cetera, really kind of learning about the bonds and what that organization stands for. These organizations have a financial responsibility. Clubs, who anybody can join, students don't pay. All they do is pay their student activities fee as part of their tuition, and that gets them everything they need. Greek organizations have additional requirements for pay, and those are dues that are varied by the organization. Some are, several hundred. Some could be as high as $1,000. It all depends upon, what the organization is looking for. Those usually end up paying into a national organization to cover insurance and other opportunities for the organization. So it's important, if anybody's thinking about, becoming Greek, as we say, that they really have some conversations with the current members to find out what all the responsibilities are. Just an FYI also, for just the student organizations, I forgot to mention this, any student can join. The only requirement is that they have at least a 2.0 GPA. And that's just to be in good standing academically. If a student isn't in good standing academically, then we want them to concentrate on their academics and not spend the extra time being part of a student organization. And then to assume those leadership roles, they need to have at least a 2.3 GPA, because academics is the most important thing, and that's why they're here. So we'll move on to the next one. Eva, you want to say anything about being Greek?
Sure. So one thing I do suggest, like there are so many different Greek organizations on campus, and students are gonna be like, oh, well, I'm gonna see who, like, what they are, or this other organization. So they host things that are called socials, or open expressos, or whatever they
Interest
call
meetings,
them, right? Yeah,
info
or
sessions, interest
interest
meetings.
meetings. They have a lot of different names. I strongly urge you to encourage your student to go to all these meetings, because just because one organization is for me doesn't mean that it's for someone else. So really being able to go to the sessions, getting to know the members of the organization is critical, because like Donna said, this is something that's for life, right? So you want to be able to identify with their values, with the things that they hold dear to their heart, because you don't want to go through a whole entire process and then figure out in a couple of months, years, that this just wasn't for you.
Right.
So really, like, encourage your students to do their research, to look at these organizations and just see, what best fits for them.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about civic engagement or community service. Civic engagement is a core value at William Patterson. As a matter of fact, we were the second school in New Jersey to require that all students take a civic engagement course as part of their curriculum. And now all the other schools have jumped onto the bandwagon. We also we're the first school and almost one of the first in the nation to offer what we call digital badges. And we offer a digital badge in civic engagement. And then the Peace Corps Prep Program is an opportunity for students to earn a Peace Corps certificate. They don't have to join the Peace Corps, but they actually get a certificate from the Peace Corps. And we are one of only 2 schools in New Jersey that were selected by the Peace Corps to offer that certificate, because of our commitment to civic engagement. So it's something we really value, and it's something that our students truly embrace. As we said before, every Greek organization is doing something. Many of our other student organizations are doing things. We're running civic engagement activities out of our office constantly. We have an AmeriCorps Vista who works full time with us to provide civic engagement opportunities for students. So it's a lot. We do a lot. So our WP Leads badges, this is the one specifically for civic engagement, is where students would complete 4 activities throughout their time. Badges, I'll talk a little bit more, but they're meant to be done throughout the course of their time here. Some students like to get them done early, but they don't have to be. It really can be done over several semesters. But the civic engagement specific badge is for students to do what we call high level and low level activities. So high level activities are Pioneer Service Ventures, which we just had, or our MLK Day of Service, or doing a full day of a build at Habitat for Humanity, or going down the shore and doing a full day with beach sweeps and cleaning beaches and planting native grasses. They're usually longer activities, full day experiences involving some kind of reflection and learning about what we're doing. So students also take what they call a UCC 5 course, which is their civic engagement course. That also counts towards this badge. So simply by taking this required class, they're already going to earn one of those high level experiences for their badge. The lower level ones are things that we do on campus. I kind of call them those little one and done kind of things. So a student may show up and make dog toys for a local shelter, or do some packaging for homeless veterans and making hygiene kits, or working with one of the fraternities to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and food boxes that they're going to donate to Oasis or Eva's Village. So there's a lot of these opportunities. And honestly, there's something happening every single day, almost at least 2 or 3 times a week. There's some activity. I'm working right now with our Greek organizations and our cheerleading team and our first generation club and our Students of Service club for next Wednesday night. We're providing, we're calling it during our Spirit Week, Pioneers Give Back. And so there's going to be 6 or 7 different activities all happening at the same time in the ballrooms, where students can go from station to station and do a whole bunch of service and earn some civic engagement credits towards their badges. So it's pretty awesome. It's just one of my favorite things that we do here. The Peace Corps Prep Program, students can earn that certificate. It's information on our webpage, Peace Corps Prep Program, where students will earn, if they earn the civic engagement badge and they earn our badge for this career development, which I'll talk about later. And then the Peace Corps has 6 different areas that they concentrate on, such as health and safety, education, etc. So students would most likely be taking almost every major will most likely be taking classes that fall within the required courses for the peer Peace Corps prep. So simply by taking some of these classes that, like I said, they're probably already taking and earning these 2 badges, they could apply and receive the Peace Corps prep program. Why would they want to do this? Well, if they're thinking about the Peace Corps, this gives them an advantage in. It also gives them an advantage for federal jobs. So just like if you were at AmeriCorps Vista, there's an advantage you get for federal job. This also gets you one step in closer if you're looking for a federal position. And it's something great on a resume. Students do not have to join the Peace Corps if they get the Peace Corps prep. But a lot of students are doing it because it's a very significant thing, and it's very, like I said, we're only 2 schools in New Jersey doing this, so it's pretty special. We have a club on campus called Students of Service. They've been around for a little while, and their whole job is to just do civic engagement activities. And they just get together and they work with the staff to provide those. And then we also have what we call a Change Builders program, which are for any students who want to really get more involved with civic engagement. These students commit up to 40 hours a year to do service, which are actually not that hard to do. If they do a couple activities, if they do an activity every month, they could probably earn their 40 hours. And then the people that do all these, the Civic Engagement Badge, the Peace Corps Prep Program, and the Change Builders Program, we recognize them at the end of the year at our awards ceremony for their service and contributions to our communities. All right, next slide there. All right, badges and certificates. All right, students love these. I'll tell you that right now, especially as they're getting close to graduating. Because when the badges we offer, we have, I think, 6 badges. These are digital badges. Think about it as Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts kind of thing, where you do a series of experiences and then you earn a badge. But this is all digital. So we have one for civic engagement. We have one for Greek stars, so that's for our fraternity and sorority community for different workshops that we offer for them and being involved in a fraternity or sorority. We have a Leaders in Action badge for students who are in student organizations and take on leadership roles and they participate in the leadership workshops. There's a career development badge for students who get their resumes reviewed and do some mock interviews and go to some of the networking and career development events. We have a Learn badge, which is actually run by the library for students who are interested in learning about research and all the different things that it can offer, as well as the different programs that the library has. And there's a social justice and leadership badge, which is run by our Center for Diversity and Inclusion. And those badges fund, those activities fund really focus on our diversity and equity programming, all of our theme celebrations. Right now, we're in the middle of celebrating Latinidad celebration. Next will be LGBTQIA celebration. There's Native American, there's Black History, there's Asian, there's a lot that we celebrate and recognize. And so all these different experiences and activities, students can earn badges towards all of these things. When they earn 3 badges, they can be inducted into our WP Leads Honor Society, which is what they really want. Because when that happens, they get invited to our awards ceremony and are recognized, and then they also get a certificate. But they, most importantly, they get an honor cord, which is what they all want to wear at commencement because the ones with the most honor cords win. And so they really like to make sure that they complete all those requirements before graduation so they can get those honor cords. And we talked about the Peace Corps prep program as well. Next slide. So you've got badges, don't you? You've earned some badges.
Yep, I've got all my badges. I just completed them last semester, actually.
Yeah.
And once you get your badges, you'll be initiated during SG Awards. So you get facilitated in front of your peers. And parents are invited, and you guys can come see that as well.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's a really nice event. So we were asked to put together some discussion questions. How do we usually work this out, Ava? We just kind of go through them and what do we do?
Yeah, we just, talk a little bit about, and the discussion questions are maybe something that families already thought about and they asked in our pre-questions, or they may just be questions that you guys just ponder on that could be very beneficial for families. So we just answer them.
So yeah, so one of the first question and I'll be honest with you, I used a little AI on this because I was thinking, let me try something new. So what are your students' interests and how can they align with campus opportunities? And I think that's really where it all begins. And the one thing I love about college is that, a student may have had an interest in something, but they never had an opportunity to explore it. And college, is a safe place, especially William Patterson, where students can try new things and see if they like, maybe I've always been interested in chemistry, but I'm not a chemistry major, but I'm going to go to the chemistry club and see what they do. And then, maybe this is a new passion for them. Or, maybe I like to write. But I never had a chance to do it in high school. So maybe I'll join the school newspaper, the Beacon, and maybe I'll write for the Beacon. I could do an article here or there about things that interest me, like I'm going to write about the hockey team or some activity that I just saw or something that's of interest that, some comic book that I just read. You never know. They publish everything. So it's really important to see, what is it that they like? What are their interesting, what are they doing? What are they watching YouTube videos about? What are they on social media about? What are they thinking about? And then how can those things be, how can they find those things at William Patterson or create them so that they can actually take those interests and make them happen. And I think that's where most students really start out at. This is what I like to do. And then, I like to draw, but I'm not an art major. So let me just go to the art club and see how that works, or I've always wanted to do something with, student government. I wasn't involved in high school, but it sounds really cool because, I have an interest in like helping to advocate for other people. Or I've always wanted to do service, but I couldn't really figure out how to do it. Well, now we provide all the opportunities, everything. They just have to show up. Everything's there. We can even get them transportation to the sites so they can just come and do. So, those are some of the things that just starts with the interest. So Haj, how did you get interested in some stuff? Your clubs.
If I'm being very honest right now, I was very introvert. As coming into college, I was very introverted, and I couldn't, like, I really didn't want to talk. I couldn't really talk to a lot of people. So my gateway into the society was the International Students Club, where I could find people with my own shared interests. And those people actually, once you get into your own community, they really help you grow. So those people, like one of the previous vice presidents of student life, actually forced me to join SGA to give me some exposure. And because she did that, now I'm here and I can. So once I feel like once you join, once you find your community, you can really grow out into your truest potential.
Right. So the next question I see is, you said check your phone. Um, Sorry. The next thing I see is how can you encourage your student to attend campus events or join a student organization? So I think a lot of we want to try to avoid the student that just hangs out in their room. Because if they live on campus and they're just comfortable being there and they never want to get out of their room, so they just go to class and then they go back to their room and take a nap, or everything is just back and forth and they don't really engage. And we also don't want the students to be, the car to class person. I just come in, I go to class, I get in my car and I leave. We want them to stick around. And I think that's where your support and involvement and questions is really important. Now, we know that students have jobs. We know most of our students work. They may have other family commitments and things that obviously that they need to partake in, be responsible for too. So we know that those things happen. But there are times when there's activities happening and encouraging your student to stay, to just go to something, try it out. Every day during, Tuesdays and Thursdays during Common Hour from 12:30 to 2, there's no classes. Unless, of course, they're a music major or nursing. Those are probably the two that have some issues. But there's events happening all over the place. Student organizations are meeting. Sometimes student organizations may meet later. So if they've got doing one thing during Common Hour, they can hit the student organization up when they're meeting maybe at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock at another time. Stick around on campus once in a while in the evening. There are activities happening, and they can just find everything in Pioneer Life and take a chance. Go to a party, go to a paint night. They're very popular, paint and sip nights. Those types of things. So there's a lot of opportunities for them to partake in those things too. But it's really encouraging them to do it because if not, then I'm sorry, Sahaj. If lost my train of thought. If they can just find those things and take those opportunities, then it's really important. Sahaj, you said you needed me to take over the slides. I don't know if I'm able to do that.
If Ava can do it, is it possible?
Is that something we can do or not?
I'm trying to see if I could take over.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
Yeah. Do you want me to stop screen sharing in order for you to try and do it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Thank
Well,
you.
while they're doing that, let me just focus on some of the other questions that we were talking about too. So would your student consider volunteering, and being part of an activity on or off campus? Is this something they're passionate about? If they're passionate about cats, let's say, honestly, we have a group organization that actually feeds our feral cats on campus that works with them. Maybe they're interested in working with children, so maybe they could go to the Boys and Girls Club and work and paint a mural for them or do packaging for school kits. So, find out what their other passions is and can that also lead into some service activities? The benefits of getting involved are numerous. I mean, my goodness, in addition to making friends and feeling connected, we know that students who get involved in campus life, specifically into student organizations, are retained at higher levels than students who don't and have higher GPAs. We know this because we actually have data on it. We really run reports on this information. And so we're not just saying it, and sometimes significantly higher than a student who just goes to class and goes home, who never really felt that connection to the campus or what they're doing. So it's really important for students to take, to get involved in something on campus, whether it's, a student organization, a fraternity, sorority, civic engagement. Maybe they want to do intramural sports or play on a sports team. They could do community service, whatever it is. They need to find something that they enjoy doing and they want to continue doing it. And with your encouragement and support and showing an interest in it, that will help them also take the risk and take that step to do it, especially if they're a student who's a little quiet or a little bit of an introvert, because I know sometimes taking that step forward is hard, but having that encouragement, all they need to do is meet one person and make one friend, and then from there, that person and then can move, to the next things. You heard Sahaj say it. She was very shy. She didn't say a peep, and now she's student government president. So we know that the one thing I truly love about William Patterson is you can be a big fish in a small pond here. And I mean that because there's so many opportunities available, 60 student organizations mean, 300 positions of leadership. There's just, tons of activities and events happening. I saw this with my own son, who was not necessarily involved in a lot of things in high school. He played hockey and that was it. And now he's president of his fraternity and he's a vice president of student government. And that's because, he took a chance and he met up with other people and shared interests. And then he just kept going and getting involved and meeting people and he's thriving. And that's the thing. I think it's a safe place for students to really find themselves and find their people here. And that's why I'm here, because I'm helping them do that. It's really important to us. And you can support them, by just being that person to ask the questions. Hey, I saw in Pioneer Life there's this new club that just got formed. Or, hey, did you see that there's an event happening? I heard that there's all these events happening for homecoming coming up. Did you go to any of those Pioneer Spirit events? Or, maybe you should talk to your academic advisor about some things that they know that might be good for your major and about a club or organization that might be able to support that, where you can meet more people who are in your major. All of these prompts and questions will help them think about it and then encourage them to do it. And then, of course, joining these clubs also helps with their career goals, because every resume needs a boost. So when you are in a leadership position in a student organization, or you are completed your digital badges in civic engagement and leadership, or you did all these other things, employers are going to ask about that. I developed communication skills and leadership skills. I was able to work in a team. I have good time management skills. I can organize events and activities and all of these things that were really important to what employers are looking for. So we'll go to the tips and takeaways, see what we got there. Tips and takeaways. All right. And I'm seeing it as small, so I don't know if you can make it larger, but that's okay. So we encourage participation at major events like Greek Fair and Club Fair. That is really a great way to kind of get their foot in the door, but also going to any organization meeting. I mean, they can just walk in. They don't have to be invited. As long as it's a student organization. If it's a fraternity sorority, going to their interest meetings, et cetera, and finding out more about them. They can explore all of the clubs and organizations in Pioneer Life, which is the portal. They all have access to it, lists all the active organizations on campus, tells a little bit about them. They can see who the members are. They can even reach out to the president and say, hey, when are you guys meeting? Or when's your next event? They can download the Cork app, CORQ, to find out all the activities. That's the app that's connected to Pioneer Life. And they can just search from their phone. Right? It's like, oh, I got an hour free. Let me see if there's anything going on right now. Oh, so-and-so has an interest meeting. Let me go check that out. We suggest that students attend at least one event every 2 weeks. If they can attend more, we love that. But, to connect and try different ones. Try something new. Just come. Just come. And many of them have free food. So that's also a really nice bonus too. You can ask about their interests and encourage them to try new things. Almost anything is possible here. Though I will say we're not doing skydiving, but we do have a lot of different activities and things on campus. They can explore their leadership and service within the student organizations, taking on new experiences. Start out as a secretary of a club. Next year you'll be vice president, and before you know it, you're president. Um, Attending the different theme celebration events are really great for diversity and equity and learning about new people, new experiences, meeting new people, working on those digital badges for social justice leadership. And then we like to celebrate them. So you can be celebrating them too. Build all this involvement builds all these skills, which eventually they're going to get those internships and jobs. And we know that all of these things build up to that. Their WP Leads digital badges when they earn them or when they get inducted into the Honor Society. We celebrate that. And the Peace Corps Prep, we'll celebrate them at the Leadership Awards in April, where you get to come. And then, we recognize them, for their growth and their achievement. Those letters of recommendations. I mean, I write tons of letters of recommendations for students who are looking for jobs or internships based on their experiences that they had with their student organizations. And so, and I have a pretty good I have a pretty good track record of students getting into grad school and getting jobs based on those letters of recommendation, scholarships, et cetera. So those are all ways that we can, work together to celebrate and encourage, your students to participate. So with that, I think there's questions in the chat, maybe, or you might have just want to, come online and tell us your questions. Yeah, I saw my daughter also lives on campus, says the weekends are painfully quiet and there aren't a lot of activities. Yeah, that is a little true, unfortunately. I'll acknowledge that. With the student organizations have just started up for the year. So we're only a couple weeks in, so now they're all starting to do their programming and activities. So we're going to start seeing more of those activities and events. The residence halls, especially, the residence life staff are required to do activities in the residence halls, and some of them are, we're doing some weekend and evening activities. So it's important to check with residence life and the portals and things that they have advertising events to see what's being promoted and where, as well as Pioneer Life. I know that we do activities, especially civic engagement. Fridays and Saturdays are big days for us to do civic engagement experiences. And also, the last 2 Friday nights we had parties. I know there's another one scheduled this Friday. I think there's another event this Friday, and I know there's another one on a Thursday night coming up. And then also, there's a lot of athletic events too, and they're free for students. And so football games, soccer games, volleyball, basketball, they can check the athletics webpage and see the different activities and things that are available to them as well. What other questions do we have? I think I answered those two questions for the weekends.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I see Ed's phone.
How are my son is a sophomore this year.
Yay.
He's one of the I guess the dreaded music majors, so there's a lot of
Oh,
conflict with. So we're trying to help him navigate because he's interested in a lot of clubs, but they all seem to me when he's required to be at some of his meetings. So
yeah.
I was just curious, is there like a point person? In other words, do the clubs only meet during those times? And if that's the case, if that's not the case, can other than just emailing through the portal, I think is my understanding, is
Yeah.
there like someone he can go to? Like I heard something about a music fraternity. I don't
Yes,
is
I
that
was just
active
going to
on campus?
suggest, yes, they are. Phi
I don't
Mu
think he knows
Alpha.
about that. So that's why I was just
Yeah,
curious
and he's
how.
a sophomore, so he'd be
Yes.
eligible. So Phi Mu Alpha is the music fraternity. He should look in Pioneer Life because they have a page in there and it has the information on it. We know they don't meet during Common Hour because they're all
Okay.
in music. They're all
Right.
music majors. And they're a really great group of guys. They're a nationally recognized fraternity. We work with them. There's also, going to events, if he can't meet the club during their meetings, he could still go to the events because events are
Okay.
open to everybody. Every club and organization, if they're getting funding from SGA to have an event, it's open to the entire university community. And most of them want people, not just from their club there. They want other people to
Cool.
come. That's the whole point of them doing it. They want to engage with other students. So going to any of those events, that are advertised that fit his schedule, would be great. There's another organization called MEO, the Music Entertainment Organization,
Mm-hmm.
MEO.
Mm-hmm.
They probably are another group that probably does not meet during Common Hour since there's a lot of music majors in that one too.
Right.
And there's also Pioneer Players. They're a group of students who do like, shows and different things. Right now they're running a Broadway show. Tickets
Got it.
are on sale right now to go see Little Shop of Horrors. So yeah.
I'm
But
sure it's more of a systematic setup, but I was just curious, has there been any talk about some flexibility for the kids during the music program to attend some type of
that
day,
is
club days or?
out of my realm.
Okay. I was just curious, because my son is into like a lot of the cultural based
Yeah.
organizations that he used to do in high school and things like that.
Well,
So
the
he's
fraternity,
finding,
I
yeah,
know the Greek organizations I know do not meet during common
right.
hours.
Well,
They
like the clubs and things like that.
The
That's why I
clubs,
was just
yeah.
curious if,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I know I think the best thing to do is to really hit up the president of those organizations he's interested in and say, "Hey, when are you meeting?" Because not
Okay.
everybody meets during common hour.
Okay.
Because they a lot of them do, but also there's a lot of activities and events that happen during common hour, so a lot of them don't want to meet during common hour because
Got
they
it.
want to go to the activities and events. So, I find that sometimes organizations meet Mondays at 3:30 or
Perfect. Okay.
3:30 to 5, 3:30 and 5 o'clock seem to be times when I'm seeing a lot of organizations meet. And I say 5 o'clock because the Student Government Association meets at 5 on Tuesdays. Their e-board meets 5 on Wednesdays. Our Student Activities Programming Board meets 5 on Wednesdays. Our
Okay.
Greek Senate meets 5 on Thursdays. So I'm at
Okay.
all of those meetings. So yeah, so there's, the big ones are meeting at 5 o'clock. Um,
Awesome.
so there's just a little bit more outreach. Go to the events though. The
Okay.
events they're probably happening, at night, evenings, all that stuff.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Other questions?
So we have a question that was pre-submitted.
Okay.
What about a senior? Like a
Senior.
yeah.
Get involved now. If they've been waiting to not get involved until now, now is the time because we really need to boost up that resume. When you could have the best GPA in the world, and when you go to look for that job and you've got the 3.8 and another student has a 3.8 and they were involved in student organizations and they were officers or whatever, chances are they're going to the one that's going to get the job over the student who just went to class. So the same thing applies. Go to the meetings, go to the events, go find, make the contact. And chances are at this point, they probably know people in student organizations because of their classes and things. Get involved in the academic club. Whatever might be related to their major would be really important. And chances are their advisor or their department chair probably has some kind of information about, when they're meeting and stuff too. So it's really, and I would say civic engagement, do that. Earn your badges. A student can earn badge in a year. They can work on it if they go to the events and activities. Basically, the badges work is when a student attends an event that's going to be considered for a badge, we just take their attendance at it, and then we load that attendance to the event in Pioneer Life, and that's what gives them the credit. So they just have to show up for some of these things and to get the experiences. So the things that they could do now to build that resume is going to be really important. And if anybody ever has a problem or concerns about getting involved, have them come by our office, Campus Activities. We're located on the first floor of the Student Center behind the information desk. I meet with students all the time. All my staff does. Students are like, I'm trying to form a club or trying to figure out how to get in touch with so and so, or I have an idea. That's our job, is to help them get engaged.
So we're gonna take a few more. What about a student that does want to get involved? Like that's not an issue, right? Like they do, but they don't have time, right? Like because they have other responsibilities, they have work,
Yeah,
they
that's
have
hard.
like school related things that they have to take care of. Like what can they do in order to be involved?
Right. So I know that's a hard one. It's a lot of time management. And first I would say let's let them reflect on what they're truly being involved with right now. And see, is there really, do they have time? Because sometimes students say, I don't have time for everything, but you've just spent an hour and a half doing this, kind of thing. And so maybe there is some time that you just haven't really thought about, strategically that you have. to participate in. Some of the events and activities do happen virtually, especially through our Center for Diversity and Inclusion, where they can participate in some things. We do have one organization, the National Society of Leadership and Success, which is a national leadership honor society. Students can join that if they have a 2.5 GPA, but there is a membership fee required for that through the national. But they do offer some of their experiences virtually. Workshops and meetings and different things, in addition to doing some things online. I also find that some of our organizations have actually started having more meetings virtually as well because of people's time and commitments and stuff. So you may find an organization that says, instead of meeting in person, we meet on Zoom, like my National Society of Leadership and Success. All of their meetings are on Zoom. So students can attend between things and be part of that too. So it's a challenge, I know it really is. Civic engagement experiences are offered all different kinds of days and times, to try to get involved with. But I think it's first trying to figure out what time do you have, and then let's see how we can make something fit into that from there.
And the last one, how do clubs and organizations support students' mental health?
Well, I would say the fact that you found your people, is really a strong part of it. People who are like-minded, you all came together for a specific interest, whether that is a major or a social activity or affinity group or whatever. You're there together. And developing those friendships and those bonds. So now you have somebody who kind of gets you, and has similar experiences with you. Now you've got a friend to talk to, and somebody that you can hang out with, and somebody who, when things aren't great, who has your back. So that's one of the things I think is really essential, to why students really need to get involved, is to find their people. Sure, they can go to the Counseling Health and Wellness Center and talk to a counselor there for free, and that's an incredible experience. And I'm glad that we're able to offer those things to our students. But also having that person, your person, that you've met through the club organization is really helpful. We also have, every club has an advisor. So if there's really something that the student needs to talk about, there's somebody, that works at the university who can talk with them and help them out and get them the resources they need as well.
I also want to mention about the Counseling Health and Wellness Center. They offer stepping stones and counseling sessions for a lot of the affinity groups on campus. So that's how also students are able to connect with each other and find their people, right? And then they might have something in common where, let's say there's not a club on campus, and then they go to Donna and they're like, you know what? I want to come up with this club. So it's like Donna said, it really is about finding who their people are so that they could keep thriving, and really finding their foot and their identity, at William Patterson.
Yeah.
A lot of students are really seeking that. They want to leave a legacy. They want to be known. They want to contribute to campus. But if they're not making the connections, if they're not putting themselves out there, then that's not going to happen. And
Right.
it's like, if we all work together with your partnership to make sure that we are encouraging students to go to the club fairs, go to Pioneer Life and see everything that is being offered. Go onto Castle's Instagram account. Go to
Oh yeah, follow our
SAPB's Instagram,
Instagram.
SGA Instagram account. Like, those are great resources so
Yeah.
that students know what's happening on campus. Residence Life, they put what's happening, like for that week, including the weekend of the following weekend on Sundays on their Instagram account.
Yep.
So definitely make yourself follow them, have your student follow them. In our page, we try to also post whatever is happening on campus, and I put it in the calendar in the portal. So that way, if your student tells you, there's nothing going on, you can say, yes, there is.
Yes,
You
there is.
you just have to go.
Yes,
You just
there
have
is.
to go. But that's how we can all work together to make sure that they are that they're finding the right resources and the right clubs and organizations and people and their people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say definitely Instagram is big. I personally am not a social media person, so I sometimes forget, but our students live there. I have some amazing staff that post everything on our castle social media, and Instagram, TikTok, all of it. It's all out there. As a matter of fact, one of our recent flyers, which is this little flyer right here, that tells everything that's going on for Pioneer Spirit Week, has 20,000 views. So we are probably one of the biggest ones to follow. So if they follow Castle, there's a good chance they're going to know what's going on.
Yes, definitely. So I don't see any more questions in the chat, and I think that we went over all the questions that were submitted ahead of time. So it's 7:04, so I think it'll be good to say if no one has any more questions that we're gonna wrap it up for the evening. But if you have questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to Donna, to myself, to Sahaj. We're here to help you. We're here to support you, so that in turn you're able to encourage your student and support them to be their best version and successful here at William Patterson. I did put in the chat survey. Please provide us your feedback. Let us know what you thought of the session, what you'd like to see in the future. Our next session coming up is on the 8th. It's a it's for College of Ed students, but it's really open to anyone that may think that they want to have a career in education, but they are not sure. They may be undecided. So if you want to sign up for that session, you're more than welcome to do so. On Wednesday, for our senior families that are here, students are invited to go to a commencement info session. They
Oh,
received an email, so make sure that you encourage them to attend that. I know commencement may seem so far away, but it's going to be here before you know it.
yep.
And then we'll have a family session for that later on in October. So make sure that you join us for that. So with that said, thank you so much and have a good night. We'll see
Bye,
you.
everybody. Thanks for being here. Great meeting you all.